Is it possible to use one of the best industry standard color grading software that is used on Hollywood movies and TV shows all over the world and use an unconventional color grading and color correcting method to actually color grade and color correct a full project? So in this video, I'm going to color grade an entire project. Well, in this case, an intro of a travel film that I'm working on, which will be released pretty soon, and you should stay tuned for that. But for this, I'm only going to use blending modes. But first, we need to know the rules, which tools we can use and which we can't. And in this case, we can't use any LUTs, we can't use any plugins, and we can't definitely use any color wheels. But what we can do, or what we can use, is blending modes, the color generator, and the key outputs, or in this case, opacity. All right, so at this point, you might be wondering, why am I even doing something like this? And the reason why is very simple. Constraints breeds creativity. And in this day and age where we have so many resources and so many access to many things that we can do and be creative with, sometimes it can get overwhelming, especially when it comes to me, because I can test out a lot of things and just keep going down different rabbit holes. But in this case, I decided I wanted to just constrain myself to these specific rules to create something and just see how I could even achieve something of a certain level that is acceptable. So here's what everyone gets wrong about blending modes. They think blending modes are just effects like Instagram filters, but they really are not. They are color science baked in already into pretty much every single editing application there is. When you set a layer to the multiply blending mode, you're basically saying, hey, take these pixels and mathematically multiply their values. That's not just a look or a preset you're slapping on top of that. It's an equation. It's literally math that you're doing on top of pixels. Everyone has an idea of Italy. The postcard style views, the pasta, the pizza, romance, etc. But Italy isn't just one thing. It's 1,000 different worlds that's stitched together by roads that were definitely not designed for cars. Everyone has an idea of Italy. The postcard style views, the pasta, the pizza, romance, etc. But Italy isn't just one thing. It's 1,000 different worlds that's stitched together by roads that were definitely not designed for cars. This was a road trip from Milan to Venice, and somewhere in between, Italy showed me its best sides, and some of it, its worst. Okay, so now I have this shot here that is a little bit of a troublesome shot because, first of all, it's very high contrast shot. There's lots of dark shadows here and there's lots of lights here, but there's still some details that you can see in both sides. Here is the raw version of it, looking at it in the log format. So we still have details there, but it's going to be extremely difficult to work with only using blending modes. So I just have my normal node tree set up here. I have my IDT and I have my ODT here with our OpenDRT. This was shot in Sony S-Log3, as you can see that, converting it to DaVinci Resolve and just working in there. It doesn't really matter much, but I just prefer to have my ODT at the end because I like to just clamp everything down in a safe space for me to be able to have it for delivery. And I normally use the ACES 2.0 tone scale because I just love that. And just obviously depending on the shot, the mood of the scene or whatever, I can change it to ACES 1.0 because I also love that one. That was when it's a more high contrast. But this is what we're working with here on this image. Very high contrast. We need some more juice in here to be able to see things and some more saturation, right? So let's start off with bringing up the exposure. If I have the exposure node here, let me increase the exposure. Now, if we look at that, it's very blown out. Everything is just gone because it just takes the entire image and just makes it 10 times more. So that's why everything just looks very blown out here. So I'm gonna turn that off actually. And what I'm gonna do is, I have a contrast node here, but if I do contrast node, it's just gonna add way more contrast and just crush everything else. That can be a mood that I'm looking for, but that's not what I'm looking for here. We wanna just see some more details here and have it nice. So I can go into this other blending mode that I have here, which blends in a 50% gray. And if I turn that on, See what happens? It just kind of flattens it out a bit there. So we're just bringing back those details. That's nice. Now let's say I want to add some more saturation there. Okay, let's add some more saturation with the saturation node. Now, this is what the saturation has done. Everything is looking very goldeny, very yellowy and stuff. We need to fix that. How are we going to fix that? With another blending mode. I have called it clean here. So if I turn that on, watch what happens. Boom. It just kind of cleans off the entire warmth and goldenness that was going on here. And the magic of this clean node is the same one that we use in our white balance node, actually, because they're almost about the same thing. But here's what happens here, right? We set the clean, we just put a color generator here and just leave it there for now. And in the blending mode option or the composites, we put it on the subtract blending mode because that's what we want to subtract. And in the key tab, we have to actually bring it down very low. So that way we can not blow out the footage or destroy the entire footage. And in the actual color side here, this is where we can pick and choose the color, moving the wheels around. And if I move the wheels around, you can see how it's going to just subtract that specific color from the image. So if I put that back up to roughly around here, now we have balanced the image. So if I do both of those nodes, the saturation and the clean node, this is the result. That's off, this is on, off, on. And let's say we want some more deepness into the shadows, we can also do that, or we can have some more details come out looking from the shadows here, or we can turn on our contrast node that we had earlier and still have it a little bit more crunchy, but we can just use the key output here and we can bring that down to our taste right there. And that's how we do it, working with only blending modes, and it's very cool experiment. Okay, so I wanted to show this real quick in person so you can see how this can also work for like a photo or something done with a Rec 709 image or video. Still working on the video. So we have the input transform, input device transform, and we have our ODT at the end here. And in the input device transform, we have put it to Rec 709 2.4 into DaVinci Resolve. That's not really needed, but this is what I need it for because I just get better results. In my ODT, I have OpenDRT, which is my preferred DCTL in this case. And then I have DaVinci Resolve that is going out into Rec 709. And one thing I like about the ODT or OpenDRT is the AC's 2.0 tone scale preset. I really like that. I like that tone scale preset. It's pretty good. So already the image doesn't have much change here, right? If you look at the before and after, if you do the before and after, there's not much difference over there, right? There's just like a slight difference, again, just because of the tone scale. So this is before, this is after, this is before, this is after. But you see how it's kind of looking flat, let's say looking flat, but I want to use the blending mode and just add a little juice, some saturation. I can do it in the saturation node here. And if I turn it on, this is what I get. So let me show you before and after, before and after. So that is how we can just add a little bit of some saturation using only blending modes. Something I have not seen anybody do at all, really. So this whole blending modes experiment, I'm learning new things and I hope you are too. Now, something to keep in mind with these blending mode techniques and so is sometimes you need to be very careful with how you use it, and that's why we use the key outputs to bring things down to normal levels, because especially using the saturation blending thing, it can go nuclear, as you see here. So that is why you need to kind of use the key output to kind of bring it down and control things in a much better way rather than having it just dialed up to 100%, because not everything that you're going to, do the blending mode mathing for is going to require it to be at 100% all the time. So that is the process of using blending modes to actually color correct and color grade your project. Now you can mess around with this in your own time, in your own project, and see just how how you can do with things. If you like me to go more in depth into these actual parameters of what you can do for like stuff like exposure, white balance, color separation, and all that kind of stuff like that, saturation, I go more in depth into them in my newsletter. So if you want to join that, you can join that. The links is in the description. But if you want to mess around with it on your own, you're more than happy and welcome to do so. More than happy to do so. That's you. But yeah, again, I just want to emphasize that constraints breeds creativity. Now there's so many things out there that you can do and make things better, and you'll be asking, what is the point of this? This is just something for you to test out, so you can also understand just how these blending modes may even work in their own aspects, because there are very interesting things that can happen with them. Now, if you'd like to watch the entire actual project of this video that I was color grading with, then you can click the link of this video here. I did not use it here, but you can watch the entire project here.